Recently, family members who have lost loved ones to violence held a day of remembrance. News Channel 8's Lee Carl has the story.
Hubert.
A day of remembrance at Government House. Candles and special attachment to the trees of life at Government House. Governor John DeYoung on hand, along with the FRC, Bilingual Social Workers, and Angela Rollins, the son of survivor Hubert Rollins, was the mistress of ceremonies. As we heard from some of the people,
Stan.
Mrs. DeYoung, as well as the governor, in this special ceremony that took place at Government House. A day of remembrance for the murdered victims.
Charette. Alvia. Alvin. Jamal Richards. Jason Carroll. Sergeant Listen Gum.
I just wanted to say that I wanted to do this today because last year I attended a Day of Remembrance in St. Croix, and I was so moved by all of the stories of all the family members who were left behind. And as we all sat there crying and holding hands, I said, you know, we need to do something like this at Government House to raise the level of awareness. And one of the things that I've been trying to do with youth is to talk to them about empathy. And I hope that today is the first day of the rest of the year and the rest of the years to come where we all spare a thought for those who are left behind and for the victims of violent crimes here in the territory. And that we all can be empathetic. And even though I myself have never had anyone in my family or a loved one or a close friend who's been murdered or died from a violent crime, I think that we all have to be empathetic to those who have been through that, because it's a terrible thing. And what we're here to do is to remember those, remember their lives, remember the good things. And that's what today is about. It's about us giving you a figurative hug and saying that we understand and that we're here for you. Thank you.
But I am here standing just to represent and to remember my son, a wonderful young man. And the year was 1995. I buried him April 1st, and April 5th would have been his 16th birthday. He died by a gunshot wound to the head. He would have been 29 years old today, a grown man. He had dreams, he had aspirations, he wrote about them. He said what he wanted to do, and he was a young man that said, but
born on the island of Tortola, just graduated from school. Wanted to go to college in St. Thomas. He said, Mommy, I want to come to St. Thomas. I want to go to college here. I said, okay, Brad, you can come. So he came. It wasn't, I don't think it was 6 months. He fell in love with a young lady who I guess he didn't even know. I talked to him. I said, Greg, you just came here. You don't know these young ladies. Please be careful. Question them. Make sure you know who they are before you get involved. Because I know this young lady have to have a boyfriend. I said, did you question him? Because he talked to me. I talked to him. We have a good relationship. He said, yes, Mommy. She said she had a boyfriend, but they just broke up. It wasn't true. this young lady's life. Anyway, he take this young lady to the movie because he was loved by everyone. Greg was a wonderful son, beautiful boy. Everybody loved him. The morning when I heard about the news, I have a business since midday. I just opened and this young man came to me and said, Christina, your son is dead. He was shot. And I said, no, not Greg.
And I said, God, did my son, what happened? Because he was attacked by two people. And I said, God, was my son on the ground like a dog? Was there anyone to help him? All of these things were running through my mind. Was there anyone to help him? What was going through his mind? And finally, I said, God, I cannot take this. This is too much for me to understand, too much. And I asked the Lord to help me bear the pain. And finally, when I call upon God, He answered. And He asked me not to lean upon my own understanding, but to just trust Him. And finally, on the next morning, when the pain became so unbearable, I said, God, you have to say something. You have to speak. And I received a call from a salesman that worked on Main Street. And he said, Miss Carol, I'm calling to let you know that I held your son when he stumbled across the street. And I picked him up. I made him comfortable. And there were some other people that came. We said, I prayed with your son. And I make sure that he was taken care of. And I said, you did? He said, yes. And he said, we tried everything we could to save him, but there was just not enough time. He lost a lot of blood. And I am so grateful that God answered my prayers because I said, God, I wanted to know. And by that, He gave me the strength to go on. And when I called upon Him, He didn't even give me strength, but He gave me the peace that surpasses all understanding, that I was able.
But we live in a community that I am the biggest champion of. There is a lot of good here, but at the same time, there's a lot of evil here. There's a lot that we have to deal with, a lot we have to adjust to, a lot that has to be done. We're a community that accepts tourism. We have jets coming in every day, but on those jets are guns that are never declared. We're a community that imports food, but as we import our food, there are guns in those containers every day. It is a community that accepts and has people that come in all the time, and every day we try to deal with the reality that we're trying to get the federal government, we're trying to get many to accept that what is happening cannot continue, that you're bringing in guns, you're affecting our community, because we have no gun manufacturers in the Virgin Islands. Therefore, their responsibilities. Every day, I talk with either James McCall, Vincent Frazier, Rodney Carrard, or Oakland Benta about what we are doing and what we are not doing. We can do better. We must do better, because it is required for us as a community to realize that there are things that we must do to make those safe and to make sure that we do what is right. I want to thank everyone for taking the time for something that is extremely important on a day like today. To just be able to come here and stand up here and to say the things that were said has got to be extremely difficult. For those of us that have the...
We also offer our condolences in St. Thomas. Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Your Sports 411 is up next.